Good afternoon and welcome to the March 27th edition of Success by Association Live. This issue is sponsored by Twin City Quarter and Biltmore Farms Hotels. We thank them for their steadfast support of AENC. Today's article is written by Brian McCartan and is reprinted with permission. The article is titled, "What Does Our Industry Look Like After the Pandemic?" All of us in the association world have an outlook on how we will move ahead in the months and years after the current situation comes to a close. As Executive Director of an International Data Tech Association, CEO of an association management company, and CEO of an audiovisual production company, my days and nights have been consumed with thought processes from every angle. The one constant in each stream is how the associations that I'm a member of will help support, care for, and drive the event industry to an even better place. Over the past few months, my team and I have spent countless hours transitioning multiple events to virtual. In this three-part series, I want to share what I've learned, what you should consider, and my insights on the future of the event industry. The bottom line is that whether or not you are ready, virtual event components are here to stay. During the first few weeks of adjusting to our new normal, my inbox was filled with dozens of emails titled "How to Pivot Your Event to Virtual." From top ways to add some spice into the event to how to do virtual networking. I even saw an email about how to train your dog to be quiet during a virtual meeting event. Everyone had high-level tips and best practices, but one thing I noticed lacking in all of those emails, the nitty-gritty understanding and explanations that we all desperately need to do our jobs well. Not all virtual solutions are the same. There are 3 levels of understanding that you should process thoroughly before deciding on a virtual solution for your next event. First, decide on how you want to incorporate virtual, fully virtual or remote, or a hybrid model of both in-person and live components. The next layer is how to deliver your content, live, simulated live, or on demand. And lastly, how technically involved do you want to be with your virtual solution? Turnkey, full service, or facilitator? Let's expand on these 3 layers. How to incorporate a virtual component. Hybrid events are part in-person, part online. For most of the country, this is not feasible at the moment due to state and local regulations, but is something to understand as the future of events are trending towards this. Live streaming is socially distance approved version of a hybrid event. This is where moderators and speakers are together in a studio presenting. Live streaming in a studio environment is often geared towards less interaction between the speaker and audience and more towards straightforward delivering of the content. Lastly, full virtual is just what it sounds like, fully virtual. There is no in-person interaction, no conference room, everything is online. Speakers are presenting and attendees are watching and engaging from home. This is the most popular delivery method right now, as it offers the in-person feel without exposing anyone to potential health risks. Next up, how to deliver content. Fully live means that both presenters and attendees are live. This allows for the most interaction and engagement between attendee to attendee as well as attendee and presenters. Simulated live is where the speakers are pre-recorded and the session airs at a certain time, as if it were live. Attendees can still interact with other attendees, but the attendee-presenter interaction is limited. Lastly is on-demand content. This is fully recorded content available for your attendees to access anytime. The last layer, how to technically involved. This is highly dependent on your organization's budget. Isn't everything? Turnkey virtual solution. This means you're paying a provider to take your agenda and speakers and do all the work. This is typically the top tier option in pricing, but you get the ease of basically sitting back and watching the event. They will facilitate speaker training, onboarding, design, and can set up your customized website for the event. A turnkey provider will also communicate with your vendors and enable them to move their booth online if you have vendors who desire an exhibit space. Often, turnkey providers utilize a proprietary platform, software, and 3D design. A full-service provider is very similar to turnkey. There's just a little bit more logistical assistance on your part. They'll take care of designing your platform and attendee experience as well as onboarding and training presenters. A full-service provider will guide you through your design of a conference website and best practices in pushing out information to your attendees. Lastly, as a facilitator, you're doing all the work. This is the least expensive option naturally, but also the most involved. Platforms like Zoom, webinars, GoToMeetings, and Google Meet can facilitate a virtual event, but often have limited functionality and technical support. I would only recommend facilitating your own event if you have 1 to 3 presenters and less than 30 attendees. Now that we've passed through the 3 levels of understanding a virtual conference, there are a few other areas to consider that apply regardless of the delivery method. What is the registration process? How will attendees access the platform? How long your license is active and how long you want playback available? What is the implementation timeline? Often 1 to 2 months. And how does this work once we're able to have in-person events again? It's important to note that every group has board members and decision makers who have real concerns that should be addressed. Of the biggest concerns that group often shares is losing engagement by going virtual. In March, when everything seemed to be up in the air, my team transitioned an in-person event to virtual in 2 weeks. It was a whirlwind of speaker onboarding, uploading, and sharing of documents and planning calls, but we got it done. In those 2 weeks, that organization also saw registrations increase 50% above their normal on-site attendance by simply going virtual and sending out an email announcement. Post-event attendees who would have not normally attended an in-person event due to schedule limitations raved about the ability to engage. Additionally, they were recognized by their national association and asked to share about their best practices. The ability to adapt has presented the opportunity to our audiovisual team to service most of the Southeast similar groups and 2 nationally recognized associations. Understanding, processing, and planning the route to take your organization can be overwhelming. Being a longtime member of AENC and now a board member, I have learned the value and true understanding of the power of association. Good people doing great work attract and embrace the same. This group of friends has helped turn a time of crisis into a path forward. Association professionals learning, laughing, and supporting each other is the pinnacle of our strength. There is always a path forward. We are a strong community who must lean on each other, ask questions, and share information because through the power of association, we are all better together. Brian McCartan, International DB2 User Group Executive Director, Your Conference Connection CEO, EasyAV CEO. That concludes our article. We hope you have a good day.